All right, today we're going to dive into a book that completely changed the game for how millions of people think about money, Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. We're going to boil down Robert Kiyosaki's most powerful ideas into a clear, straightforward guide.
So let's just jump right in. Kiyosaki kicks things off with this really stark ratio. He calls it the 90-10 rule of money. But what on earth does it mean? It means that a whopping 90% of all the money out there is made by just 10% of the people. Think about that for a second. This isn't just some random statistic. He calls it the 90-10 riddle. And it's the big question we're going to explore. How do you get on the right side of that equation?
Well, according to Kiyosaki, the journey starts with a choice. It's a choice between two totally different ways of thinking, personified by his two dads. And this slide lays it out perfectly. On one side, you have his poor dad, his actual father, a very smart, highly educated man who told him to study hard and get a safe, secure job. But on the other side, you have Rich Dad, his best friend's father, who taught him something completely different: build assets and aim for total financial freedom. One path is about working for your money. The other is about making your money work for you.
And this quote right here, this is the first huge mindset shift. Rich Dad's big lesson was that real investing isn't about frantically picking the hottest stocks or the trendiest mutual funds. It's a plan. It's all about having a strategy, a real strategy for your money.
So if it's a plan, what's the first thing you need for any big journey? You need a map, right? You need a way to see the whole landscape of money so you can figure out where you are and where you're going.
And here it is. This is the map, the cash flow quadrant. It's actually pretty simple. Kiyosaki says everyone who earns money fits into one of four categories. E is for employee. You have a job. S is for self-employed or specialist. You own a job. B is for business owner. You own a system and people work for you. And finally, I is for investor, where your money is what works for you. Now, here's the crucial part. The whole point of the map is to show you the direction you need to go. The plan is to move from the left side, the E and S quadrants, where your income is tied directly to the hours you work, over to the right side, the B and I quadrants, where your income comes from systems and investments, not your own time.
And this brings up a really big question, a personal one for all of us. When you look at this map, which side of the table do you see yourself on in the future? Where is your financial plan actually taking you?
Now, to navigate this map, you have to speak the language. And Rich Dad's definitions are just brilliantly simple. An asset, that's anything that puts money in your pocket. A liability, that's anything that takes money out of your pocket. That is it. The rich, they just focus all their energy on acquiring assets. Period. Okay, so you've got your plan, you've got your map, but here's where Kiyosaki makes a really important point. You can't, and you really shouldn't try to make this journey all by yourself.
You know, a truly sophisticated investor, they build a team, an all-star team. We're talking about your banker, your accountant, a good lawyer, a broker you trust, maybe a financial planner, and crucially, a successful mentor who's already done what you want to do.
And this isn't just about hiring people to do tasks. Rich Dad put it perfectly. Finding a team member is like finding a business partner in the business of your life. These are the people who give you the expert advice you need to spot opportunities and, just as importantly, to avoid those big mistakes. All right, we have the map, we have the team, so what's next? Well, now we get to the really powerful stuff, the actual blueprint for building the assets that will move you over to the right side of that quadrant.
And this is it. This is the BI triangle. You can think of it as Rich Dad's secret recipe for building a real successful business, a true B quadrant asset. It shows you that it's not just about having a great idea or product, it's about building a solid, stable structure around it. So let's break it down. The whole thing rests on a strong foundation, your mission. Then you build up from there. You have to master cash flow, then create great communications and scalable systems. You protect all that with your legal structure, and way up at the top, that's where your product sits. And the glue holding it all together, that's your team and your leadership. If any one of these pieces is weak, the whole thing can just fall apart.
And what's the whole point of this triangle? It's the framework that lets you create a real, scalable business, an asset that makes you money whether you're in the office or on a beach somewhere. This is the engine that drives financial freedom.
Okay, but does this whole strategy actually pay off? I mean, really? Well, just take a look at the data on this slide. This chart shows the historical returns of different kinds of stocks. And the key is that bottom bar, small cap stocks, the kind of companies created by B quadrant entrepreneurs using a blueprint like this. They delivered astronomically higher returns. That's the financial power we're talking about. So we come full circle, right back to that 90-10 riddle. The reason that 10% of people make 90% of the money isn't because they're lucky, it's because they have a plan. They use a map like the cash flow quadrant, they build a strong team, and they use a blueprint like the BI triangle to build real assets. They're not just buying products, they're following a plan. So the question to leave you with is, what will your plan be?